Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I'm here with Cara O'Donnell, who is the Chief Executive of the Michael Tracey Project. And the Michael Tracey Project provides support to young people between the ages of 16 and 30. And one of the things that the Michael Tracey Project does, which I love, is they provide what I used to call non-building based respite, which is a bit of a mouthful, but which Cara absolutely rightly calls short breaks. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Welcome, Cara. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
So, talking about short breaks, but in a very specific way, not short breaks as maybe some people think about it. So, this is a different way of looking at respite, essentially, isn't it? Because instead of the young person going to a building which is maybe run by an organisation and going there every time they go for respite, actually, this time they're going on a holiday. They're going somewhere that they want to go.
Yeah, so the way we see it is young adults between 16 and 30, they normally go on holidays with their friends, and we're just enabling that to happen safely, and at the same time that they're not having to go with families, and not have that normal experience that everyone else at their age is already experiencing. So we have young adults that are going for weekend breaks away. We have adults that are going weeks, 2 weeks, and allowing at the same time it's allowing the families have respite.
Yeah.
But they know that when they're having that respite, the young adults are definitely still enjoying what they see as their holiday with their friends.
Because I think respite traditionally, because of the term respite, is very much about the carer parent, which absolutely is really, really important. But it just swings the balance a little bit towards the young person.
Well, it's more like, I know social work can tend to focus more on making sure the parents have got that rest from their caring duties to then allow them to continue as in a daily routine. So that was the way that the respite was originally focused, whereas nowadays it is definitely more about the young adults and them having their voice heard, that they want to enjoy time away on holidays and things like that. It's not saying that building based respite isn't working, because it does work for some families, but this is more for focusing on the young adults, maybe having a different type of holiday respite away from the family.
And you're not finding that you're limited by the young person's physical abilities, or I mean, it's not just for physically capable, high functioning young people. This is across the board.
Yeah, so we do use caravans that are adapted for wheelchair users. We do have equipment. We have hoists. We have shower chairs. We have profile beds that we can use, and we're in the process of linking up with another charity to obviously get a proper adapted caravan based on more complex young adults.
Fantastic. So you touched slightly earlier on the sort of different places you've been, but maybe you just want to elaborate a bit more about the variety of the different places you've taken young adults to.
Yeah, so locally, we have been to quite a lot of the caravan holiday parks. We've been up to Lochgoyle Head, we've been to Craig Tara, we've been to Sundrum Castle. That's just locally, but we've went down to Blackpool, the Brick House Cottages, which is a fantastic facility that's catered for the more complex young adults and obviously adults and children. They have basically every type of equipment that you can think of down there. And they've got hydrotherapy pool based there as well, so it's a very, very good facility for more complex kids, adults, really anybody.
I can imagine as a parent sort of watching, thinking that all sounds amazing, but it's a pretty scary prospect to let your, I mean, however, even if they're 30, to let you're still your children, to go away with maybe someone that you don't know terribly well. So what sort of process do you go through to get to know those young people?
So we initially meet with the families. Usually myself will meet initially to go through the process of getting a care plan drawn up, finding out a bit more about the individual themselves, or basically just getting to know the families. That can take maybe 3-4 visits, just depending on each individual. Then it's a case of getting the right staff team for the individual, maybe getting them to do a couple of shadow shifts with staff that are already there, doing a couple of days maybe out and about.
And how do you keep families updated? Because I can imagine, if James went away on a holiday somewhere for a week, I'd be sitting there chewing my nails all week. So I think you go above and beyond, don't you, to keep in contact with families?
So what we do is we usually create a WhatsApp group or through Facebook, just depending on what the families already have in place. And it's a case of really sending daily updates with photographs, messages, videos, really just anything that we're doing. And we're just keeping in touch with the families that way. I know that a lot of the families appreciate that, because when they have went to obviously respite before, or a break before, they've maybe not known until they've picked the young adult up or the child up. And it can be quite daunting, especially because you don't really know what's going on. Whereas if you're getting daily updates, then it's a case of you can just pick up the phone and you know that you can speak to us or get some photographs to see what's going on.
That sounds amazing. I can also imagine people thinking, it sounds great, it sounds really expensive. But then respite is expensive. Building-based respite is expensive. And I know, for example, locally here, you're probably looking at upwards of £400 for a 24-hour period. So is it comparable to do something like this?
Well, we depending on each individual.
Yeah.
So whether they're a 1-to-1, 1-to-2, just if they can share costs. So if you've got a young adult who is quite capable, quite independent, they maybe don't need that 1-to-1 staff team, then we do maybe 2 staff members to 3 young adults, where they can share the costs of the staff, the sleepovers, and then obviously we have to add the accommodation cost on. So like we've seen respite go ahead for maybe a weekend and it's costing £600 for the full weekend.
Gosh.
But then obviously it just depends, it gets more expensive if it's a 1-to-1. But we try where possible to have a couple of young adults going, whether it's 2 1-to-1 young adults with 2 or 3 staff. We do try and keep it as obviously as cheap as we can, because I know that it can be a big, like, obviously cost restraint for families.
And how are you finding that families are paying for this? Are they using self-directed support? How is that working?
Each individual usually has a individual budget, whether it be through SDS or through council. Some families pay it out their own pocket, just depending on what personal circumstances.
Yeah. So not everybody watching this is going to have a Michael Tracey project on their doorstep. So I think we should also acknowledge that there are probably other ways that you can achieve this fantastic outcome for young people of going away. So maybe encouraging their own, if people employ their own PAs, that their PAs could take their young people away, or organisations that they already use to try and encourage them to think outside the box a little bit, because it's such a forward thinking way to go. It just seems to make sense.
I mean, there's a lot of services that are now going down this route, with regards to personalised short breaks. And I know that a lot of families are now looking into this because there's not as many respite facilities out there just now. So really, I mean, it's a great person-centred plan for each young adult that's out there, and children as well. Because at the end of the day, most kids love to go away and have a holiday, whether it be with their family or whether it be with really their friends, staff members that they're already used to and comfortable with.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for sharing all your experience, Cara, and I'm sure that's going to be really interesting for everybody that's watching. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. This channel is all about providing reliable, inspirational information for carers. So if you want to know each time my videos are released, just click the subscribe button there and you'll get notified every time I release a new video every Sunday.